What a complex world we live in. I think I find that I'm always living in that tension between the many, many, many things there are to be grateful for and the heartbreak of decisions like the Rittenhouse outcome. But what a wonderful world indeed. The whole messy, complicated experience of just being alive. Here we are with another wonder before us, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. One of the things that I have always liked about Thanksgiving is that it's a holiday that has largely escaped the commercial crassness that's taken over much of our lives. Beyond stuffing ourselves silly and watching football games, it's a time to focus on relationships. It's a time to focus on gratitude. And even though we know that those gatherings might be a little complicated, there is many reasons to give thanks for being able to gather together. So when I think about gratitude, I recognize that some of us come to this much more readily than others. Now, has this ever happened to you? It's Thanksgiving, and you're sitting around a table, often with family and friends that you may not see on a regular basis, and everyone is invited to express what it is that they may be thankful for. Often there are comments that people give thanks for family, for friends, for being able to gather together. Sometimes the flow is easy and sincere. You know that the words that are spoken are heartfelt. You can feel your own heart opening in response. But sometimes there is no flow, only an awkwardness as one reaches for gratitude, but merely finds the concept, not the true depth or feeling of gratitude that cracks the heart open and invites connection to the others that you're gathered with, invites connection to that which is greater than the words that you utter. In both situations, we may say the same words. We may say we are grateful for family, for friends, for being able to gather, but without opening to the fullness of our gratitude, our words of thanks may end up ringing hollow. So often we are told that giving thanks is the antidote for our life's worries. Gratitude is the healing balm that can calm our fears. We're told to keep a gratitude journal to make sure that we capture all of those special and ordinary moments of each day. But I often ask myself, what do we do when we cannot get past the awkward grasping, the thought that I should be grateful, but I just cannot find my way to counting all of the blessings that I know I must have? What do we do when we're so weighted down by worry? We can't begin to see past the struggle. We simply cannot think of anything for which we could possibly be grateful. For me, this Thanksgiving holiday looks a lot brighter than it did last year. This year, with the gift of vaccination, our family plans to gather later this week. Our daughter and her family coming from New York, and our son and his family from Georgia, and it will be a long overdue and greatly anticipated gathering. This is a great contrast from last year, when our plans, like I'm guessing many of yours, were interrupted, changed, because of the pandemic and wanting to be thoughtful and keep everybody safe. Last year at this time, because of the pandemic, we had not been able to be with our children physically since the previous Christmas, so almost a year. And we were hoping that it would be safe enough to share Thanksgiving together. And I recall so clearly the great anticipation followed by a deep sadness when we decided to stay home and share the day through Zoom. That disappointment, combined with worries about the skyrocketing COVID numbers, the frustration at that time about the endless election, and the worries that I had about what might happen between that point and the inauguration on January 20th, and a host of other things, found me struggling to find my way clear to even consider counting the blessings that I knew I must have. But what that experience ended up illuminating for me, and what I discovered anew amidst my sadness, is that gratitude, just like hope and just like love, is a verb, not a noun. Gratitude is not a thing that I can pull off the shelf to comfort me when I'm in need. It's a word, it's a concept that needs to be embodied. Being grateful, really grateful, requires something from me. To truly access gratitude, I need to be actively engaging in the process of taking a deep look at my life. Gratitude is a practice. It's an avenue through which I can access the ineffable, through which I can begin to see that which is divine. With that insight, I started looking at the what isness of my life. The fact was that last year, the vaccine did not exist, and we knew that COVID could be deadly. It was also a fact that my husband and I consciously made a decision to postpone that visit, with the hope that our decision to hunker down and stay home would keep us all safer in the end. And what I ended up finding out was that the more that I shifted my focus away from my disappointment at not being able to gather with my family, and instead began to shine a light on the fact that our connection transcends physical proximity, the more I really began to feel those stirrings of gratitude within me. I began to feel truly grateful for the technology, as complicated and sometimes malfunctioning that it can be. I began to be grateful for that technology that allowed us to regularly connect through phone calls, through Zoom chats, through emails and text messages, through photos and videos that we were able to share. During the darkest days of the pandemic, with the marvel of this technology, we were able to watch our then 7-year-old granddaughter ride her bike without training wheels for the first time. In a video, we saw one of our grandchildren lose their first tooth. Through these mediums, we were getting regular updates on home repair projects that they were working on. We went on virtual walks with them along beautiful trails in nature. We shared their joy as our son and his wife announced the anticipated new arrival of another child who was born this past March. We heard the heartbeat, and we saw those eerily wonderful first images of the baby's form still within his mother's womb. We ended up sharing that Thanksgiving with our son and daughter and their families across the miles that separated us, all through the wonder of Zoom. We broke bread with them. We shared our various variations on a Thanksgiving feast. We told stories. We laughed together. We remembered those who had passed on. And most importantly, we remembered that love has no boundaries, and together we did count endless blessings. There's little doubt in my mind that I'm going to find myself in places again and again where I know that I should be grateful, but where gratitude remains a concept rather than a verb, something solid I try to grasp onto and claim as my own. But I do believe that I will keep the reflection of last year's meditation on gratitude that has given me the chance to activate that word, that idea, and move gratitude from being a thing into a living embodiment. And I do recognize that there are those among us who come into this world with challenges that others among us cannot fathom. I know that there are those among us who are alone, those who have struggled, those who are struggling with difficult relationships, with health challenges, financial worries, and more. And I want you especially to not give up on the possibility of realizing the blessings of your precious life. Gratitude is the impulse, the energy that helps us shift our focus from loss, from fear, from self-pity, to an experience that can open our heart, that can connect us, all of us, with the goodness that I do believe lies at the center of life, always, even when we cannot see it or believe that it is there. And I remember reading and being deeply moved by the words found on a cellar wall in a concentration camp during World War II. The words written in part said, "I believe in the sun, even when it is not shining, and I believe in love, even when there is no one there." So rather than being mired in thoughts of loss and sadness, that our anticipated trip was postponed last year, a true meditation on gratitude helped me to access the joy of simply knowing that I had been deeply blessed to have children. The embodiment of gratitude shifted me from a sense of entitlement that mired me in sadness and loss and moved me into an internal space of deep feeling that recognized that this life, with all of its ups and downs, is a gift. When I understand this, if even only for fleeting moments, I understand that life truly is a gift we have not earned and for which we cannot pay. And when I can access those moments, I know deep, deep in my being that the words of the poet Leonard Cohen are true. Don't dwell on what has passed away or what is yet to be. Yeah, the wars, they will be fought again. The holy dove caught again, bought and sold and caught again. The dove is never free. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything, and that is how the light gets in. Gratitude is another superpower. It is the vehicle that can transport us from our heads to our hearts, from thinking too much to feeling most deeply, from worry to appreciation. Gratitude moves us from the prayer of help to wow, from recognizing that I did nothing to deserve the second Brandenburg Concerto, but I am worthy of receiving it. May you go forth today with a heart filled with the wonder of your life, your most precious life. And now, you're all invited to rise in spirit, to sing or hum along with our closing hymn, Just as Long as I Have Breath.